I was just building her bed, until she asked me to test it. And suddenly, nothing between us felt simple anymore. He shows up expecting this to be a quick, practical favor, nothing more. Just a Saturday afternoon helping a family friend, a neighbor, someone he knows only in that polite, passing way. But the moment she opens the door, something inside him slows down, like her presence rearranges the pace of the day without even trying. She's 42, poised in that quiet, self-contained way some women carry naturally. She's not trying to look impressive. Hair in a loose bun, soft cream sweater, jeans that look comfortable, not styled. Yet she has this grounded, graceful energy that hits him harder than he expected. Her smile is warm, almost relieved, and when she steps aside to let him in, he catches the faint scent of something soft and floral, something that makes the air feel gentler. Her townhouse surprises him too. It's bright, but not in a staged or pristine way. Sunlight stretches across wooden floors, plants line the windowsill, and a mellow acoustic guitar track plays somewhere in the background. The place has a lived-in calmness, the kind that makes a person breathe deeper without realizing. He can tell she put effort into making it feel like a home, not just a space. She apologizes for the mess, even though there is none, and points him upstairs where the boxes wait. As he lifts the first one, he notices her watching from the hallway. Not in a flirtatious way, just thoughtful, like she's studying something in him she didn't expect to. Her arms are folded loosely, one foot slightly angled against the wall, posture relaxed but attentive. And even though she's not saying anything, he feels the air shift. Not heavy, just more aware. He asks her where she wants the finished bed placed. She steps closer, pointing at a sunlit corner near the window. When she brushes by him to show the exact spot, the warmth of her shoulder passes inches from him, and it's nothing really normal proximity, but he feels it anyway. He hears it too, the soft change in her breathing when she leans down to check the space. She thanks him again, quietly this time, not out of politeness but something more genuine. "You really saved me today," she says, looking up at him with a softness that lingers. He laughs it off, tells her it's no trouble, but her eyes hold his for a beat longer than necessary. A beat he doesn't mind. As he unpacks the first box, he becomes hyper-aware of the details around him. The faint smell of fresh linens she's just washed, the distant hum of the washing machine, the sunlight warming the carpet where he kneels. Her footsteps approach, slow and light, and she kneels beside him with a small smile, ready to help even though she admits she has no idea what she's doing. It's innocent, simple, but the moment she settles down next to him, close enough that their arms might brush if either shifts even slightly, he can already feel it. This favor might not stay simple for long. She kneels beside him with a soft exhale, brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear as she studies the instruction manual like it's written in another language. The box pieces are scattered around them. Wooden panels, hardware bags, tools. Yet the room feels smaller than it should, like the space between them has pulled tight in a way neither of them names but both feel. He shows her where to hold a side panel so he can align the screws. She leans in, following his guidance, her fingers brushing the wood right next to his. When her arm grazes his forearm, it's quick, barely a second, but warmth shoots through him so unexpectedly that he almost loses his grip on the screwdriver. She laughs at herself under her breath, but it's not self-conscious. It's warm, unguarded, like she's letting him in a little. "I swear these things are designed specifically to embarrass people like me," she says. He smiles without looking up. "You're doing fine. Seriously." Her laughter softens into a smile that feels proud or grateful. He can't quite tell. But her mood shifts the room, making it lighter. They sit closer as the project demands teamwork. When he shows her how to align a metal bracket, she leans over his shoulder, chin nearly brushing it. Her breath warms the back of his neck for the slightest moment, just enough to make him lose the thread of what he was explaining. She doesn't notice, or maybe she does. Maybe that tiny smile at the corner of her lips isn't just amusement. She asks him quiet, personal questions, the kind that slip out when someone is comfortable without meaning to be. "How'd you learn to do all this?" she asks, steadying the panel while he works. My dad taught me. Then YouTube taught me everything else, he says, making her laugh again. She tilts her head, considering him. You're patient. Most guys your age rush through everything. You take your time. He feels something warm settle in his chest. It's the way she says it, not as praise, but as an observation that feels intimate. Like she's seeing parts of him he usually hides under casual jokes and easygoing attitude. They reach for the same screwdriver at the same time. Their hands cover each other's fully. Palm to back of hand, fingers brushing. And the silence that follows is soft, stretched, full of everything they don't say. She doesn't pull away immediately. Her eyes lift to his briefly, and the look she gives him is gentle, but searching too, like she's checking if he felt it as much as she did. He clears his throat lightly, trying to keep his voice steady. Here, you take it. She accepts the tool, but her fingers linger an extra heartbeat on his. Warm and deliberate. Not accidental. Not rushed. And even though they go back to building, to aligning panels and tightening screws, the tension has changed. It's not loud or obvious, but it's there. In the way they angle their bodies closer. In the way their conversations soften. In the way her knee presses against his when she shifts to see the instructions and doesn't move away. The task stays the same. But they don't. They've been working for a while now. Long enough that the sunlight has shifted, turning from bright morning gold to a softer, amber warmth that drapes the room in a kind of late afternoon calm. The half-assembled bed creaks softly as he tightens another bolt. She sits on the edge of the wooden frame, legs crossed at the ankles, watching him with a thoughtful expression that keeps pulling at him. He didn't expect conversation to feel this easy. He didn't expect her voice to blend so comfortably with the quiet rhythms in the room. The soft slide of screws, the distant hum of the house settling, the gentle acoustic music playing downstairs. Everything feels slower than real time, like the day is intentionally giving them room to notice each other. She exhales, then says something that changes the tone immediately. Not dramatic, just unexpectedly honest. I haven't really had people over much this year, she admits, eyes tracing the wooden floor. It's been a lot. He pauses mid-tighten, glancing up. She's not crying, not even close. But there's a tiredness in her voice, the kind that comes from holding things alone for too long. The shadows around them deepen slightly, and he feels the urge to give her all his attention, to listen without trying to fix anything. What happened? He asks, gentle, without pushing. She shrugs one shoulder, a small, almost apologetic gesture. A divorce, a move, and a feeling that I wasn't ready for any of it but didn't have a choice. She gives a small laugh, but there's no humor in it. This room was supposed to make me feel like I was starting over, but the bed has been in boxes for weeks. I kept walking past it. He sets the tool down and sits beside her on the unfinished frame. Not too close, just enough to show he's present. Enough to match the openness she's offering. You don't have to explain anything, he says quietly. But, thank you for telling me. She looks at him then, really looks, and he feels something unspoken pass between them. Trust, maybe. Relief. Or the recognition that she is safe with him in a way she didn't expect to be. Her eyes soften, the tension in her shoulders easing slightly. You're surprisingly good at listening, she says with a faint smile. I didn't expect that. He laughs, but it's a quiet sound, almost shy. Most people don't expect much from me. I guess I like proving them wrong. She nudges his knee gently with hers. A small, warm touch. No, I think people underestimate you. There's a difference. The comment settles into him like heat spreading from the inside out. Compliments from her feel different. Not superficial, not thrown casually. They feel true, earned. She reaches out and touches his forearm lightly, thumb brushing once. Slow. Really, thank you. For helping today. For sitting with me. For not treating me like I'm fragile. He swallows, trying not to show how deeply that touch affects him. The brush of her thumb. The softness of her hand. The way her eyes hold his. It's all subtle, but powerful. The room feels smaller now. Not cramped. Just full of a quiet closeness neither of them is pretending not to feel. And as he picks up the next tool, he realizes something. He isn't just building her bed. He's helping her rebuild a part of herself. The part that believes someone could show up with kindness and stay long enough to matter. They lift the mattress together, one on each side, fingers hooked through the stitched fabric handles. It's not heavy, but it's awkward, and they have to angle it just right to slide it onto the newly assembled frame. Their movements sync easily, too easily. Like they've been working together longer than the past couple hours. Okay, on 3, he says. She smiles. Do we actually count to 3? Or is this one of those things where you say you will and then lift on 2? He laughs. Fine. We'll do it your way this time. They both inhale, steadying themselves. 1, 2, 3. The mattress thuds softly into place, landing with a satisfying finality. And then, suddenly, they're standing closer than planned. So close that he can feel the warmth radiating from her. His breath catches just slightly. Her chest rises and falls in a slow, steady rhythm, but he senses the tiny shift in her posture when she realizes the closeness, too. Neither steps back. Instead, they both hover in that gentle, suspended breath between accident and intention. Her eyes drop for a second to his hands. Calloused, a little scraped up, she notices one small bruise near his knuckle. It's faint, but visible. Before he can say anything, she reaches out and takes his hand, turning it gently in her own. Her touch is careful, warm, unhurried. What happened here? She asks softly, thumb brushing lightly across the bruise. He shrugs, trying to sound casual despite the way his pulse stirs under her fingers. Just bumped it, moving one of the panels. Part of the job. She doesn't let go. If anything, her grip becomes even more attentive. You really do work too hard, she murmurs, almost to herself. The gentleness in her voice leaves him momentarily undone. It's not flirtatious. It's something more intimate than that. Concern. Care. A note of affection she hasn't shown him before. He can feel every point of contact. The heat of her palm against his, the smooth glide of her thumb, the subtle scent of her perfume drifting between them. Her sweater sleeve brushes the inside of his wrist as she turns his hand over, checking for any other marks. The touch lasts longer than necessary, long enough to make the air around them shift again. He watches her face as she examines his hand. She's focused, thoughtful, unaware of how deeply the moment is affecting him. The soft lamplight settles around her hair, catching warm highlights in the strands that have fallen loose from her bun. A tiny crease forms between her brows as she notices another faint scratch. You should take better care of yourself, she says, looking up at him with eyes that hold something he can't quite name. You matter more than you think. The words land with weight, gentle, unexpected weight. He swallows. I didn't know anyone noticed. I notice, she replies, quiet but certain. Her thumb makes one last, slow pass across his skin before she finally releases his hand. The loss of her warmth feels immediate. They stand there, neither speaking, the silence thick but comfortable, heavy with something new, something fragile and precious. The bed is finished, but the space between them has changed entirely. The room feels different now that the bed is complete. Not just because the frame stands solid and neatly built, but because the easy, task-focused excuse for their closeness is gone. There's no manual to hold, no screws to tighten, no panels forcing them shoulder to shoulder anymore. He gathers his tools slowly, more slowly than he needs to, as if giving her one last chance to speak, or giving himself time to breathe. The sun has slipped lower, leaving the room bathed in a warm, quiet glow from the bedside lamp she turned on earlier. It casts soft halos of gold across her sweater, her hair, the contours of her thoughtful expression. She stands near the doorway, one hand resting lightly against the frame, watching him in a way that's no longer casual. There's something in her eyes, hesitation maybe, or hope, or fear that hope might be too obvious. He closes his toolbox with a quiet click. Well, he says, trying to sound even normal, unaffected. That should do it. You've got a fully functional bed now. She lets out a soft breath. I'm really glad you came today. There's a pause. A long one. Not empty but charged. like the room itself is holding its breath. He steps toward the door, expecting her to move aside. She doesn't. Instead, she shifts just slightly, like she's gathering her courage, like the next words need care to be spoken at all. Her gaze flicks from his face to the bed behind him and back again. Then she says it, quietly, but with a sincerity that stops him mid-step. "You should test it before you go." He freezes just for a second. Her voice wasn't playful, not flirty. It carried a softness that made the invitation delicate instead of bold. Like she knew the weight of the moment. Like she wasn't trying to suggest anything improper, only to ask for something she couldn't figure out how to phrase without sounding too vulnerable, too forward, too human. He turns to look at her fully. Her fingers grip the doorframe lightly, knuckles paling a little. Her shoulders lift with a small, nervous inhale. Her eyes meet his with a fragile, hopeful steadiness. She tries again, voice barely above a whisper. "I want to make sure everything feels right, that it's really steady. I trust your judgment." The words carry two meanings, and they both hear both of them. He takes a slow breath, letting the moment settle between them. He doesn't rush. He doesn't joke. He respects the gravity in her eyes, the way she's offering a sliver of vulnerability wrapped in something practical. "You want me to test it?" he repeats, but gently, giving her space to retreat if she needs to. Her lips part just slightly. "Only if you want to." A pause. Then, "I would like it if you did." Her hand lifts just a little, as if reaching toward his back to guide him inside again. She hesitates, then lets her fingertips brush him. It's light, almost feather-soft, but it's enough. Enough to say she isn't asking about the bed. Not really. He exhales, the tension in his chest shifting into something warmer, steadier, deeper. "Okay," he says, voice low but sure. "I'll test it." And as he steps back into the room, her hand drifts down from his back, tracing a whisper of warmth he feels long after her touch leaves. The moment has changed everything, and they both know it. He sits first carefully on the edge of the new bed. The mattress dips slightly beneath his weight, springs settling with a soft, sighing sound. It's perfectly steady, perfectly solid, exactly what he intended when he started building it. But the moment isn't really about craftsmanship anymore. She stands a few feet away, watching with a nervousness she tries to hide. Her hands are clasped lightly in front of her, fingers fidgeting with the hem of her sweater. The lamp behind her gives her an amber glow, outlining the softness of her features, the gentle slope of her shoulders. When he looks up at her, truly looks, she exhales and steps forward. "May I?" she asks, indicating the spot beside him. He nods. His throat feels warmer than it should. She sits down slowly, as if not wanting to startle the moment. The mattress shifts again, first under her weight, then beneath both of them together. Their shoulders touch, barely, but the contact feels unmistakably intentional. Her sweater brushes his arm, soft and warm. For a moment, neither speaks. They just sit there, side by side, sharing quiet breaths in a quiet room. "So?" she finally murmurs, eyes on the wall instead of him. "Sturdy." He laughs softly, just enough to break the stillness. "Feels pretty solid." She smiles, but it's a small, vulnerable smile, the kind someone gives when they've let you close enough to see the parts they don't show everyone. Her fingers rest on her lap, thumb tracing slow circles against her own skin. "You know," she says, voice low and hesitant, "I wasn't sure how today would feel, letting someone into my space again. Letting someone help me." She swallows, gaze softening. "But you've been so patient, so gentle. I didn't realize how much I needed that." His heart tightens, not painfully, but with a kind of quiet ache he didn't expect. "I didn't want to leave," he admits. The confession slips out before he can second-guess it. "I kept finding reasons to slow down." She looks at him then, really looks. Her eyes search his gently, her expression open in a way he hasn't seen from her until now. "Why?" she asks, barely above a whisper. "Because I like being here," he says. And then, more carefully, "I like being around you." She breathes out, A soft, trembling exhale, one that sounds like relief. Her shoulder settles more fully against his. She leans her head, lightly, tentatively, onto his shoulder. The feeling is warm, grounding, like she's letting herself trust him in a way that has nothing to do with the bed. He turns his head just enough that his cheek brushes her hair. It's a fleeting touch, but it sends a soft, electric warmth through him. Her hand, resting beside her thigh, shifts slightly until her fingers graze his. He turns his palm upward. She accepts the invitation, threading her fingers slowly, deliberately between his. No rushing, no pretense. Just the quiet bravery of two people admitting they want to be close. It feels nice, she murmurs. What does? He asks. Letting someone in again. A pause. Letting you in. He squeezes her hand gently, thumb brushing the back of her knuckles in an unspoken promise to be careful with whatever she's offering. The test is done. The bed is steady. But the real thing being tested, their connection, feels even steadier. They stay like that for a long moment, her head resting lightly on his shoulder, their fingers woven together in a quiet, steady link. The room has softened into stillness, the air warm and calm, carrying the lingering scent of new fabric and the faint sweetness of her perfume. Outside, distant evening sounds drift in through the slightly cracked window. A car passing, a dog barking somewhere down the street, the faint rustle of wind. She eventually lifts her head, slow and reluctant, like she's afraid she might move too quickly and break whatever delicate thing they've created. Her hair falls back into place around her face, and she tucks it behind her ear without looking at him yet, gathering herself. He watches her with the kind of attention you give someone when you're memorizing the moment. I don't want to make this complicated, she says softly, eyes fixed on the pattern of the comforter. I feel really safe with you today. More than I have in a long time. He nods, his thumb brushing over her hand again. You don't have to explain it. I get it. She exhales, then gives a small laugh. A real one, tired but genuine. You're very good at making hard things feel easier. He shakes his head gently. I'm not doing anything special. She turns her face toward him. You stayed present. You listened. You cared. That's rare. There's no flirtation in her tone. It's something deeper. Gratitude mixed with the cautious hope of someone relearning trust. He shifts slightly so he's facing her more fully. I'm here. I'm not in a rush to be anywhere else. Her eyes soften at that. She looks at him with a quiet vulnerability that feels like an invitation to step into a truth she's been holding back. Then, almost shyly, she asks, Would you stay for a little while? Not to help, just company. I don't want to be alone tonight. It's not a dramatic plea. It's gentle, honest, brave, and he feels the weight of it, the trust, the comfort, the certainty she's offering him, not as pressure, but as something he wants to honor. Yeah, he says softly. I'll stay. Relief flickers across her face, subtle but unmistakable. She shifts back onto the pillows, leaning until she's seated comfortably against the headboard. He hesitates for half a second, not from doubt, but from awe at the simplicity of the moment, then joins her. They lie back side by side, still fully dressed, shoulders touching lightly. The ceiling above them looks different from this angle, closer, peaceful, almost like it's sheltering them. She tilts her head toward him, smiling when their eyes meet. This feels unexpectedly nice, she murmurs. Yeah, he replies. It does. Their hands find each other again automatically, resting between them on the blanket. She squeezes his fingers once, soft, deliberate, full of meaning. They talk quietly about nothing heavy. Favorite music? Bad first apartments, embarrassing stories from their 20s. Each small detail threads them closer, weaving two separate lives into the quiet beginning of something neither of them expected when he arrived with tools in hand. Eventually, her breathing slows, calm and steady. The tension she carried earlier has melted into the softness of the room. He stays beside her, warm and grounded, feeling her trust settle into him like a promise. There's no rush, no uncertainty, no fear. Just two people choosing each other with honesty, with tenderness, with the kind of simplicity that doesn't need to be analyzed to be real. Together and secure. They don't define anything yet. They don't need to. Tonight, they simply stay. And it's enough. Stories like this remind us how small moments can change everything. If this touched your heart, subscribe and join me for more slow burn romances you won't want to miss.